Well, why not? Everyone else on the Lightning is injured. Why not just add Nikita Kucherov and Brayden to the list as well? We'll talk about their injuries and a weird win over the Capitals on today's Locked On Lightning.
You're Locked On Lightning, your daily podcast on the Tampa Bay Lightning, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Lightning your first listen of the day. Every single day, we are your free daily Tampa Bay Lightning podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcasting network. As always, we want to start with a shout out to our everydayers, those of you who tune into every single show, every single day. We love you guys. We appreciate the support you give us week in, week out. I'm Nick Morgan, and I am joined by the tomato soup to my grilled cheese, Greg Steven. Greg, happy Monday. Weird game against the Caps to talk about.
Yeah, for sure. Happy Monday. Happy Thanksgiving week to everyone. What a bizarre game, and some good results with the W and some not so good results with some injuries.
Yeah. Turkey Day cannot get here soon enough for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They also have a lot of games over the next week, so they don't get that break that the rest of us here in the country get. Obviously, big headline from the game: Nikita Kucherov leaves in the second period after a hit from Tom Wilson. Brayden in the third period would also join Nikita Kucherov on the injured list. We're waiting for updates on them. Obviously, that is going to be a big storyline, however it plays out. We'll dive into that. Plus, the Lightning play again tonight against the Philadelphia Flyers. We'll have a preview of that game. A lot to get to on today's show. Before we dive into it, do want to mention today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. All right, Greg, let's start with Saturday's win over the Washington Capitals. I certainly don't know how to categorize this game other than the Lightning won it 5-3.
Look, that's all that matters. 5 goals on 16 shots, though, is pretty wild.
It is. Eric Erlinson from Lightning Insider had a great headline where he was like on Twitter, he was like, sometimes winning just doesn't have to make sense. But yeah, I mean, 16 shots on goal for the Lightning. Absolutely sloppy all the way around for the Lightning on both ends of the ice. Obviously, you're playing already without a lot of players in the lineup due to injury, and then you lose 2 more. You somehow go up 4-1 to start this game and somehow survive a late Washington push to win it. You know, and I'm with Lightning Insider in this one, Greg. Sometimes it just doesn't have to make sense, but kudos to the Lightning for finding a way to pull out 2 points.
Yeah, 100%. Special teams, I think, in this one was remarkable. You got Hagel with the shorty, you got Bjorkstrand on the power play. And to say that out loud is kind of funny because we gave them 6 power plays and had 27 minutes in the box. So that's not exactly what I thought I'd be saying about this. But those 2 goals are huge.
Yeah, a perfect 6 for 6 on the penalty kill in this game. A lot to. I mean, there is a lot to like about it.
Yeah.
But it's just, it felt like, you know, obviously it's hard to judge because the Lightning didn't play their best hockey, obviously. They didn't have people in the lineup, but they got points. And at the end of the day, it does feel like that's one of those things where you give them credit for winning a game like this. You know, sometimes you're not going to have your best hockey. Sometimes you're going to have guys out of the lineup. And, you know, you do give stick taps a little bit because this is exactly sort of what you want. You want them to survive games like this and come out with points. You know, down the stretch, that's going to be important. Greg, let's get to plus minus from this game. Give me something you liked. Give me a plus.
Brandon Hagel, 4 points, including a shorty and an additional goal and 2 assists. So Yeah, for me, it's Brandon Hagel. I don't think anyone in this game played better than he did.
Yeah, and not just on the score sheet too, but I thought his forechecking was really strong.
Mm-hmm.
I thought especially when Kucherov went down, he really stepped up and I think kind of handled a lot of the offensive pressure. Lightning didn't get a lot of offensive pressure. They were shorthanded a bunch in this game.
Yeah.
But I do give him credit because I do think he filled that sort of first line energy void.
Absolutely. And he stepped up, and like you said, when Kuch went down, he steps up and he plays well in the moments that matter. And I think he really carried this team to this W.
Yeah. I'm going to give a plus, Greg, to two people we haven't talked a lot about this season, but I think have absolutely been key in helping the Lightning win games like this. And that's two guys on the blue line, Eric Cernak and J.J. Moser. Two sort of unsung heroes, two underappreciated guys. Both got assists in this game. I want to give him credit because of all the Lightning changes that have gone on this season. Up front for them on the blue line, obviously, not having Hedman is huge. We've talked about guys like Desto stepping up. We've talked about Darren Radish, but Cernak and Moser, they've been the two constants. Like, we know they're the two, I would say, outside of Ryan McDonough, maybe they're just the two best pure defensemen on the team. Just so solid, so sound. You don't see them make a lot of mistakes. You always see them playing hard and physical. We haven't really called them out a lot this year. And the fact that we haven't talked about them a lot does mean they're doing their job well.
Yes,
because they're just the solid positioning, solid play, those type of guys. But I want to give them credit because I think their leadership and their presence have really helped stabilize kind of what has been a tumultuous start to the season for the Lightning. And I do give them credit for being able to step up and do that. So I love their leadership. And I've quite frankly also have just loved the way that they played. When you sit down and watch them, their defense is solid, their positioning is solid. They're doing all the things you want somebody in their roles to do.
Yeah. And they're so consistent, and they played far more minutes than anyone on the blue line in this game. Both with one with Cernak was at 24-ish, and Moser was around 25, both +1. I thought Cernak looked great. He was blocking some shots out there. And you know what? I'm gonna give a little credit to Lilleberg in this one too.
Oh my God, who are you? What have you done to Craig?
I must be sick, but he was +2. I thought he looked really good. He had 4 hits, and he blocked a shot. So I think he actually played a really good game in this one too. Yeah. Aside from a penalty.
Yeah, it happens with Lilleberg.
Yeah, it happens.
Give me a minus for this game. What's something you didn't like?
What to choose here? I think for me, it's just, you know what? I was going to say discipline, but I'm going to go to giveaways again. 19.
Yeah.
Oh, they're just, the carelessness with the puck continues in my eyes, and you got to clean that up. I think, like we kind of alluded to, this was a bit of a fluke win, but, you're not going to win a lot of games with 19 turnovers.
No. I mean, they certainly survived it. It's one of those, I think, that plays into this game didn't really make sense, but
right.
Yeah, you can't win playing that type of hockey.
Exactly.
Every night. I'm going to give a minus to Curtis Douglas in this one.
Uh-oh.
Because, look, I mean, I think overall he played fine, but let's talk about the moment. Nikita Kucherov injured, hit from Tom Wilson. It was a hard hit. I don't think it was a dirty hit, Greg. I don't think it was one of those that the league is going to come crashing down or anything like that. And I think actually it was Kucherov kind of running into the ref. That really hurt him more than the hit itself. Right. But still, it's a hard hit on your best player, and naturally you're going to send somebody out to respond. Curtis Douglas is the guy you brought on your team to do just that. 6'9", tallest guy in the league. He's the heavyweight. He's supposed to be the guy that nobody wants to touch. If you drop the gloves with Tom Wilson to get revenge, you've got to do better in that fight, Curtis Douglas. And look, it will, especially how it starts. If you're going to instigate, like if you're going to take the 2 minutes and the misconduct for, the instigating, you've got to make your shots count. Like you've got to land it. You got to bloody. You've got to wind up on top. You can't lose that fight the way you did. Like Tom Wilson ragdolling him at the end, skating off, getting the crowd hyped, shouting back at the Lightning bench. I mean, there's more to it than that, but you also kind of felt like that was a turning point for the Capitals in this game where they built some momentum after that. They got the crowd going. Yeah, you just hate to see that. Like if you're going to fight, if you're going to be the heavyweight fighter on this team, you've got to have a couple of knockouts, especially against a guy that injured your captain. And look, Tom Wilson's a tough guy, one of the best fighters in the league, one of the toughest guys in the league. But still, Curtis Douglas, you're 6'9", man. You've got to come out with a win in that matchup.
I think Tom Wilson is a dog, though. So
for sure,
that's a tough fight, no matter how large you are. Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm with you. If you're gonna begin that, you better at least do a little damage, and that kind of stuff really hypes up the crowd, like you kind of mentioned. And when you win a big fight like that, especially when you're not the instigator, like Tom did, like he's really giving his team momentum big time. So like you said, yeah, I think you're right. You got to win that, and if you don't win that, then don't start it.
Yeah, I'm with you 100% there. I think we need to get to the biggest minus of the game, and that's injuries. Obviously, we just mentioned Nikita Kucherov goes off injured. Brayden Point follows him right after that. What is going on with these Lightning injuries? And can the Lightning survive one of this magnitude? We'll talk about it when we come back on Locked on Lightning. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Hockey season, it's officially in full swing, folks, and nothing beats being in the arena for those opening games. But let's be real, getting tickets can be a total nightmare. Between waiting in queues, surprise fees, and prices that always seem to jump right before you hit buy, it's easy to get frustrated, and all you want to do is cheer on your team. That's why I use Game Time. It's the app that gives fans like me, like you, the advantage. It's the ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NHL tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. For Thanksgiving, I'm going home to Nashville, and I'm going to check out the Nashville Predators. So what I did, I opened up Game Time. I knew sort of the section I wanted to sit in, so I opened up that section, and I took advantage of Game Time's zone deals. I picked the section, and Game Time picked my seats for me based on the best deal. It led to some big savings for me. Plus, the other thing I liked is that it showed me my view from my seats exactly what it was going to look like. So I knew I wasn't going to be, hidden behind some obstructive view behind the bench or a giant beam or anything like that. I knew what I was getting into before I hit buy. Plus, knowing my all-in price up front made it easy to check out. I wasn't floored by any of the hidden fees. That's where Game Time always comes in handy. If you want to take the guesswork out of buying NHL tickets, use Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. We are back on Locked on Lightning. Nick Morgan here alongside Greg Steven. And Greg, more injury news to talk about. Nikita Kucherov left after that hit against Tom Wilson, did not come back and play. Brayden Point, who we mentioned wasn't playing his best hockey, but is still your longtime number one center, injured somehow. We're not exactly sure how, but took one shift in the third period and did not return. Neither of them came back after the game. John Cooper said it's too soon to tell anything about what their status is, but anytime you're not able to finish the game, I think your alarm bells go off a little bit. So Greg, with these injuries, I have two, I think, pretty easy, straightforward questions for you.
Okay.
One is, why do bad things happen to good hockey teams? And the second is it because God hates us?
Wow. Yeah, like you said, very easy to answer questions.
Yeah, very
Um,
straightforward. Would love to hear your nuanced take on both of those. No.
I think I don't know that I've ever seen this tremendous amount of injuries to a team. I feel
Yeah.
like I'm watching the NFL right now. Um, I think the hit on Cooch, like I just watched it back again to really remember, and it's just like not dirty at all.
No.
And it's such a weird hit. It's so awkward. You can't really tell even what's bothering him, you know?
And I think that's kind of the scary plays. Like the more awkward it looks, like kind of like the more unnatural. I
Hmm.
think that's where like the alarm bells go off a little bit more. And that seemed like one of those plays.
Yeah, and like you said, he kind of like turns awkwardly and then kind of bumps the ref as well. Um, I'm not really sure what that injury could be, but where I'm really going with this is it didn't look like something to me that would be super long term. Now that's just, pure speculation, but just based on what you see in that hit, I'm hoping that this is like a very minor injury. Um, and like you said, as far as point, we don't really know anything. Like I didn't see any obvious play with him that indicated an injury, but sometimes that's even worse, to be honest with you. Like, non-contact injuries, you
Yeah.
see that in the NFL all the time, right? And that kind of stuff could be much worse. But again, just speculation. Um, but yeah, these two guys being gone, let's pretend they are gone for the rest of this week. I mean, you got at least three more big games coming up here that you probably want to win most of them. I mean, you want to win all of them, but
Yeah.
with this kind of busy week, you can't expect to come out on top every time, I don't think. I think that's a little unrealistic.
Yeah.
But what, you got the Flyers tonight, and then you roll right into the Flames on Wednesday, which one of the worst teams in the league, right? We should be winning that game.
But
But then,
also physical game.
yeah, 100%. But then Friday and Saturday, you run right into a back-to-back. One's against a divisional opponent in the Red Wings, who are looking pretty strong. It's a good team, and then you just roll right into the Rangers away at MSG. Two difficult games. So you don't get any of these guys back. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be a tough week.
Yeah. That's I feel like the Lightning have done a great job so far
Hmm.
managing some key injuries. And that
Absolutely.
was a big question mark for us before the season. Remember, like that was one of
Yeah.
our storylines, was health is going to be the number one factor for the Lightning this year, because we debated. It's like, do they have the depth to survive something like this?
Right.
And here is something like this. Like, this is the exact scenario we're talking about before the season, where we're like, I very much question if disaster happens injury wise. Like, there's doubts for both of us. It's like, I don't know if the Lightning like absolutely survive this. And if Cooch is out, like obviously Brayden Point getting hurt sucks. But Nikita Kucherov has finally found his stride, and
Yeah.
no disrespect to anybody else, he's the best player on the team. He is
Yeah.
the best hockey player on the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Absolutely.
If he's out with Victor Hedman, with Ryan McDonough, with Sorelli coming back and look good, but maybe still kind of nursing some things. You have some other spot guys who are either just getting healthy or still a little bit out of the lineup.
Hmm.
You have to do major surgery with this team. I mean, I'm not like trade everybody or anything like that, but I think
No.
if you're John Cooper, these two injuries in particular are going to make you go, okay, I have to do something different with the lineup. I'm going to have to do some shuffling across the board from the top down. We may have to kind of play a different style of game to survive this. And you know what? Survive is a word that we use for that Caps game, Greg.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of going to be the goal, is just survive. And you know what? We may have to sit here and endure more games like this past one where we win 3-2, but get outshot like 35-15
Right.
and be okay with that.
Yeah, 100%. I'm okay with anything that looks like a win.
Sure.
Yeah, like you said, this is tough to navigate. But I think also we've seen this season in a way that is, to me, surprising because I didn't think there was a ton in the pipeline. But now you look at what they have in the AHL right now. I think there are guys you can call up.
Yeah.
Dylan Duke, just like I think there's a bunch of guys that could come in and slot in and can be given a shot to show what they can do. And we've seen that through guys like Das too. He was not on my radar at all. I don't think he was on anyone's radar, to be honest.
Yeah, no, agree. And kudos to them for stepping up. I know Jacob Pelletier has had a really good start to the season in Syracuse, and he looked, pretty solid when he came up. I want to say like 2 weeks ago, maybe.
Yeah.
But there is a difference between having a call up come up and replace like Nick Paul and maybe a top line guy. But this is 2/3 of your top line, your number one defenseman. It is a little bit of a different beast now.
For sure.
I think that's where this is going to really test the Lightning.
Definitely. Completely agree.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens tonight. This is going to be the first test. Hey, who knows? Nikita Kucherov might be out there and everything we just said won't matter.
Right.
But it's still going to be a big game for the Tampa Bay Lightning tonight against the Philadelphia Flyers. We're going to have a preview of that game, plus a couple of quick picks when we come back. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. It's not just hockey that's back, folks. The NBA is in full swing, and there's no better place to get in on the hardwood action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. So whether you're a fan of the Miami Heat, the Orlando Magic, or you just love watching a good game on the court, every game is a little bit more exciting with FanDuel, especially when your team is making that late push. So if you want to get on the action, listen to this offer. FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's right. All you have to do is sign up, download the app, and place $5 down for a shot at $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So head to FanDuel.com now to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. We're back on Locked on Lightning. Nick Morgan here alongside Greg Steven. And Greg, let's talk about tonight's game. Lightning taking on the Philadelphia Flyers at 7 o'clock puck drop for this one. We are coming to you from Club BMI, your favorite place.
Yeah.
Greg, it's going to be a tough game because the Flyers have quietly, I think, played better than a lot of people were maybe expecting them to start the season. Their young guys have really taken off. How do you see this one playing off, especially if some of the Lightning's big guns can't go tonight?
I think this game is winnable regardless. And not to discredit the Flyers in any way, but I think just on paper, the Lightning are overall better team, even without Nikita Kucherov and Brayden Point. Obviously, they're navigating more injuries than just those, but I still think goaltending, Vasi's looked so good lately. Let's be real. Just him playing a really good game and Hagel playing well, I think wins this game. That being said, these teams are pretty even in some categories too. Like power play, the Flyers are 23rd, the Lightning are 21st. The penalty kill, the Flyers are actually looking pretty sharp on the penalty kill, 5th in the league. Penalty kill for the Lightning, 2nd. So they kind of have some similar numbers there. What I will say is let's not expect some power play goals tonight because, these two are done. I mean, not done, sorry, is the wrong word. If they're out today, I don't think you're converting on the power play too frequently, especially because they have struggled. I mean, the last couple of games they've looked good, but overall this season the power play has not looked great, right?
No.
And you take those two guys out, and you got to shuffle it again. Just the consistency on the power play is just I don't know if it'll ever exist for them.
And I'll throw out two really good teams on the penalty kill too. The Lightning, they dropped back to second in the league, but they're killing almost 88% of
Which
their
is
power play or their penalty
amazing.
kills this season.
Yeah.
And the Flyers are fifth. So these
Right.
are two teams that know how to get out of trouble with the man advantage.
And then you look at some more similar numbers. They're both not so great on the face-off dot, right?
Yeah.
But then you look at goals for, and I think that's where you see the difference in these teams. It's that the Flyers are 26th in the league, I believe, and the Lightning are 11th. So you gotta notch some goals. I think they've gotten some pretty consistent goaltending from Vladar. But again, if you look at that overall, I think Vasi takes that goaltending battle every time. So yeah, I see this as a win. It's a home game. Yeah, you got guys going down, but I think we pull this one out. I think it will be a close game, closer than I would guess if you had guaranteed Cooch back in. But yeah, I'm thinking, are we giving predict? No, I'll wait to we'll wait for the predictions.
There you go. Okay, yeah. But I agree with everything you said, and let's ease ahead to that. For me, I think the Philadelphia Flyers, they're very top heavy right now. Trevor Zegras, who, of course, big headline in the offseason was him going to the Flyers from Anaheim, quietly having the best, on pace for the best year of his career. That change of scenery really helped him. Obviously, Travis Konechny has been there a long time, has always been the constant there. He's having a good year as well. But, they're not getting a lot from Mishkov or Bobby Brink so far, although Bobby Brink's been hot the past few games. It's I think some of the other depth that they were maybe expecting more from have been, I'm not going to say bad, because I think they have decent numbers. I think it's maybe just a little bit slower than what they're at. And I go back, Greg, to, I said it again in a couple of these different games, but I go back to the depth for the Tampa Bay Lightning. And this is one of those games where you're going to need a timely Nick Paul goal. Or you're going to need like Dominic James to step up again and Yanni Gourde to come through and have a big game. Because I do think the depth battle is where this is going to be won, especially now, because let's just, for argument's sake, say that Brayden Point and Nikita Kucherov aren't going to play. We don't know that. Let's just say, for argument's sake, you're going to need some guys like that to come out and play like a second line.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's where the key for this is going to lie to me is whose depth is going to step up. And if it's the Lightning, then I do think that they're going to have a good chance. If you can get some goals from, the point, like the Nick Pauls and the Yanni Gourdes that I just mentioned.
Absolutely. Completely agree. I think you're right. The depth matters a lot. And the last little thing I'll throw at everyone is both these teams are on a little bit of a win streak. Flyers won their last two. Lightning won their last three. So, yeah, I like this game a lot, actually. I think I'm looking forward to it, regardless of the injuries.
Yeah, no, it should be fun. Two fun teams. Flyers are at the very least a fun team to watch. Let's get to some odds from our friends at FanDuel. Greg, Lightning are the money line favorites at minus 170. Flyers are plus 140. Let's get to the over-under, Greg. 5.5 tonight. First things first. I hate saying it. Are you going to smash the over-under?
I'm going under.
Okay, so 6-4 is going to be the final score.
Yeah, it's going to be 11-10. No, I'm going the under, just because the Flyers don't score a ton of goals often, and the Lightning are missing some of their best players. So, to me, it's a logical play. But yeah, now it's going to be 6-5 or whatever. So
I agree. It is the logical play. I'm not expecting a ton of scoring in this game, so that's why I'm just going to go intuition and hit the over. because my analysis says to hit the under. That's why I'm hitting the over.
Well, one of us is going to be right.
One of us is going to be right. There we go. Just doing it for odds. Hedging the Locked On Lightning bets here. Greg, give me an anytime goal scorer. Who do you feel good about scoring a goal tonight? And I'll tell you the odds.
Yeah. I think I'm feeling some Bjorkstrand action again. He's looked a little better recently. He notched one yesterday or 2 days ago. And I think he'll keep rolling. And I think they kind of need him to, So I'm going Bjorkstrand.
6 best odds on FanDuel right now, plus 280 for a Bjorkstrand goal.
Okay.
I'm going to give, obviously, I think for me, easy money is going to be Brandon Hagel just for how well he's been playing. He's plus 160. Second best odds for a goal tonight, according to FanDuel. Jake Gensel's first at plus 150. If you're going to give me somebody on the Lightning, on the Flyers, give me Owen Tippett at plus 300. He's been hot, especially in playmaking. 6 assists in his last 5 games. 7 total points. That's the most among the Flyers over the last 5. I don't know. I feel like he's been skating well in a top 6 role. He's had a lot of assists. Obviously, he's setting up some plays. I'm going to pick him for finishing a play tonight. So I'm going to go Owen Tippett at plus 300.
Yeah, he skates about 17 minutes a game too, so I think that's a good pick.
Yeah, and especially in a 8-6 contest like we're going to see tonight.
Yeah, everyone's getting a goal tonight.
We're gonna watch. It's gonna be 8-6, and then Owen Tippett's gonna have no points whatsoever.
Right.
Yeah, Curtis Douglas is going to get a hat trick. Nikolai Laurier is gonna get 8 points. He's gonna be like the Mario Lemieux, score a goal in every way. We'll see what happens tonight. It is a 7:00 puck drop. Obviously, one that I think, like we said, Greg, the Lightning just want to survive, especially if Kuch and Point can't go, because that adds to the list of all the other top Lightning players that can't go. So we'll talk about it either way on tomorrow's Locked On Lightning. Until then, be sure to hit subscribe wherever you're listening to us, whether you're watching us on YouTube or listening in your favorite podcasting platform. Hitting that subscribe button not only helps us out with numbers, but it also lets you guys know when we have brand new content out for you. Also, be sure to follow us on the socials, Locked On Lightning on Instagram, TikTok, wherever you scroll. Be sure to follow us so you can see new content. That's going to do it for us on today's Locked On Lightning. Thanks for making us your first listen of the day. Back with a new episode tomorrow. We'll see you then.